Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little unboxing for you guys. I wanted to show you guys the makeup that I'll be testing this fall. Yes, sorry, one of my nails broke off and I'm really sad about it, but we're just gonna keep it moving. I have two different looks sort of curated for you guys to unbox to show you guys just sort of the color palettes that I'm going to be working with, but I'm sure that I'll be mixing and matching between all of them. As usual, I can never confine myself to just one look or just one palette. I like to have everything in the mix. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is this Either And Glow Fix Mini Cushion. Either And is a brand that looks like it's relatively new. There's only a couple products on their Olive Young page, and because of that, I'm really glad that they came out with a mini cushion. I have this shade 17 Vanilla. You're probably not getting a lot of product for your money with a mini cushion since you're probably mostly paying for packaging, but I did want to try this one out and I wasn't really ready to commit to a full-size product of a brand that I just haven't tried yet, so I'm happy to have this mini. That being said, I did like their ingredients. This has a little hole that you can attach to a keychain. I haven't attached it to anything yet since I just unboxed it, but this little puff is super stiff, so I think it'll be interesting to use. Now back to the whole ingredients thing. I've actually figured out how to read the ingredients on Olive Young. There's actually a tab where you can read the ingredients. So I've been trying to stick to purchasing base products that are fragrance-free or fragrance-free products in general. That spot where you just saw the cushion disappear out of the frame, that was actually me sniffing it to make sure that it was fragrance-free, and it is, so I'm really happy about that. This one does have a bunch of skincare claims, as most cushions do these days, but I'm more focused on the way that it looks on my skin since I already have a set skincare routine. This is supposed to be their glowy cushion, and as you can see, it's not actually a super dewy formula. It's almost like it gets like a little film to it that develops a sort of shine rather than having a super wet formula. I'm really interested to test this out and see how the wear time is because of that. I'm also interested to see how other products apply on top. It looks like it's a really soft medium coverage. You can see there compared to my other hand, it does cover up my veins a little bit, but it's not super high coverage. That's kind of my preferred cushion format, so I'll test this one out and I'll come back to you guys at the end of the season with my opinions. If it's that good, I'll definitely consider investing in the full-size version. I tried to go in some semblance of order, but of course I messed it up. This is more of my cool-toned theme look, so I got the Love Beam Cheek Balm from Lily by Red in the shade 07 Ruddy Pink. This is by no means a new formula. I think this formula has been around absolutely forever, but I'm really happy to finally get my hands on one. I might have tested one back in the day, maybe when I was in high school, but I'm happy to have it again now that I'm actually a big girl with some big girl makeup skills. This is a cream blush formula, which I'm more recently converted to being a cream blush fan, with a really heavy white base, as you can tell. I actually tested this out yesterday, just applied a little bit to my face with another product that we're going to see later, and that white base is really apparent, so I would only use this with a high coverage foundation. Otherwise, it kind of looks a little bit ashy on your skin, even when you're fair. The base product that I was using was light coverage, and it did blend really nicely on top of the base, but that's probably because there wasn't a lot of pigment in the base to start with. I'll be interested to see how it goes with a high coverage product. Now we have a product from 3CE. I think this is probably the cool girl makeup brand, but I do actually enjoy their products a lot. This is the Layer It All eye palette, and I actually have another one of these from the same collection. If you have a really good memory, you might remember that I unboxed it as part of my summer haul. This one is in the shade 03 Pink Haze. It's the more cool-toned version of my summer version of this palette. Here's what the palette looks like. That color story is gorgeous, and I think it's going to be really easy to get a lot of everyday looks out of this. Unfortunately, that pop-off top is really annoying, and I'm afraid to travel with it because I don't want it to get knocked off inside my makeup bag and just have eyeshadow getting everywhere. It's compact to store inside your drawer, but it also means that the palette doesn't come with a mirror. That being said, let's get to swatching, or at least me doing my best with my super long nails. The thing that really drew me into this particular collection of palettes is that blue. You don't see a lot of color in Korean makeup products generally, but that blue glitter is actually just a really light overcoat sheen type of thing, and it's really gorgeous. The whole color story itself is pretty basic, but having the option of that little hint of blue I think is gonna be really fun and something I'll enjoy this winter. Let's see at the end of the season if this one makes it into my winter basket too. Now we have a mascara. I'm not gonna actually open this one for you since I have a brown mascara running right now, but this is the Kill Lash mascara in O2 Mousse Brown. I know that they've reformulated this, so I'm interested to see how that goes down with the K-beauty community, since I know this mascara is a cult classic. If they've messed it up with the new brush, I think there's gonna be chaos, but we'll see. Now we have a product from Espar. I normally wouldn't pay Espar money for a highlight, but I was really interested in the formulation of this one. It looked really cool online, so I thought I would try it. I also have the shade Ruby Moon, since I didn't want to buy another cream or ivory because I have a million of those, and highlight's not something I put all over my face, so there's just no way that I'm realistically gonna use up all of these highlights in a timely manner. This one did come with a free brush though, so that's nice. Espar does a good job of doling out freebies because their prices are pretty steep. I actually think this brush is going to be really good for a targeted application of this specific formula because it's really stiff. This is actually not the highlight formula that I was expecting, but I really like it. It's sort of a really fine glitter or shimmer. Glitter sounds bad, shimmer's maybe a better word, but you can see when I apply it on the back of my hand, there's virtually no base pigment. It's all just shine. I think this is going to be a really gorgeous blush topper. And if you're a fan of that glowy K-pop idol blush look, I think this is going to be the perfect way to do it. It is going to add some pink to whatever blush you're applying it to, but again, there's just not a ton of base pigment to it, so I think it'll just add as a really pretty reflection. You guys already know I'll be back with my full thoughts by the end of the season. Now we have the lip products for my pinky cool tone look. Not all of these actually ended up being cool tone, but that's okay. I bought off of the swatches online, which again, impossible to tell. This is White Strawberry from ColourGram's new Juicy Blur tint. I think every K-beauty brand has been coming out with some version of a juicy blur tint in the last couple of months, but this one is really cute and petite, about the size of my thumb as you saw there, and it's at a really good price point. I like how narrow and pointy this doe foot applicator is for precise application, and I still think that it picks up a decent amount of product. I don't think I'm going to have to go dipping in a million times just to get the pigment that I want. Speaking of pigment, you can see how lightly pigmented this formula is. There's not a ton of color to this, which I actually really enjoy. That sort of sheer matte is my preferred matte formula. I don't necessarily love a super pigmented matte liquid lipstick since I lived through 2016 and I remember what those super dry, crackly, stayed forever but at what cost liquid lipsticks were like. This one stays wet and then dries down matte. It's still wet right now, but I'll come back and show you the matte later. Now we have this Amuse Powder Velvet Tint in 06 Rose Cherry. Of course, this is in collaboration with My Melody and Kuromi, so you know I was gonna buy one. This is not a new formula, this is one that I've tried before, and I sort of have mixed thoughts on it. It's really pigmented, so you don't need a lot, but it is a little dry in my opinion. It's hard, I think, to make a formula this pigmented without it being dry. That being said though, this packaging is so adorable, and it does come with that little lipstick carrier that you saw earlier that you can attach to the outside of your bag. The good thing about being able to apply a tiny amount of this tint and get a lot of coverage is that it's actually one of my favorite tints to use in the center of my lips as an accent color. You can see there that it's definitely bright, but I think it will match really well with that ColourGram tint from earlier. I'm excited to pair them together and see how it goes. That being said, you can also see how well that ColourGram tint dried down and became a nice soft matte. Those two textures together I think are going to be gorgeous, and again, I'll report back. Another Amuse product from the My Melody and Kuromi line. This is the Amuse Baby Tint in 11 Vanilla Apricot. Again, not a new formula, one that I've definitely tried before and one that I'm not new to, but I really love Amuse's tints. I think they do a really great job with their lip formulas, and this one even comes with a teeny tiny little lip brush. You're actually going to see this in action later with a different product because my nails are just too long to get into things. I am a little afraid I might lose this though. It's just so tiny. Here's that little lipstick carrier that I mentioned earlier that came with the powder velvet tint. This fits in there really nicely, so I'm not afraid that it's going to fall out. I'm just not sure how practical it's going to be carrying my lipstick on the outside of my bag. I know everybody and their mother has been doing these keychain style lipstick carriers, but again, I'm just so nervous that I might lose it. It's so cute though, so I might use it just as an accessory. But back to the BB gel tint. As I said, this one is in 11 Apricot, but you can't see that at all because it's white writing on a pink background, but that's okay. We're gonna swatch it now so that you guys can see the color on this, even though the formula is not new. Thankfully, I think all of these colors from the My Melody and Kuromi collab are not limited edition, which means that even if I run out of this, I'll be able to get this color again. It is a super gorgeous color, actually matches really well with the color scheme that I have so far, and I'm excited to use this. The BB tint does have a little bit of a minty feel to it, so if you're not a fan of that, then stay away from this product. I am a fan of that though, so I have been really enjoying these tints. Like I said, Amuse makes some of my favorite lip tints. Even though they're pricey, I'm willing to pay for it. Now we're gonna move on to a product that I was a little apprehensive about, and for a good reason. This is the Chewing Glowy Pot from Dayzik, and it does come in this really cute pudding packaging. It also comes with a keychain, just like Fui. Like I said, everybody and their mom is coming out with these keychains. It was really hard to get out of the packaging, I'm sorry about that, but it's easy to transfer this particular product into the keychain, and you're gonna see why later. With the glowy version of the Fui pot, I was really afraid to try to transfer it into the keychain because it had a much stiffer jelly texture. I have mine in the shade 17, Lavender Mochi, and like I said, I've already tried the Fui version, and if you've seen my channel, then you know that I didn't really like those. This, I was even more nervous about after I opened the packaging. I could already see that it had leaked into the lid, and as you can see when I pull this little seal off, oh my god, that is such a mess. It already got all over my fingers and all over my nails before I even got it open, and I am afraid of the chaos that this is going to cause when I try to apply it. I'm definitely going to have to use a lip brush or wait until I have shorter nails to use this, and it almost feels like if you let the Fui version of this melt in the sun. Like if you kept it in your car on a sunny day and you just let it melt. That seems like the texture that this product is giving, and I don't think I like that very much. It's just too messy. The color is really gorgeous though, and it smells nice, so I really want to like this, but it just seems like it's going to be too inconvenient to actually get a lot of use. I could be wrong though, so when I report back at the end of the season, we'll see if it's made so much of a mess inside of my desk that I've just gotten frustrated and gotten rid of it. But hey, it could be really good. I'm open to having my mind changed. And here's everything lined up in the order of the swatches. You can see the first two stayed matte and the second two stayed glossy. I also showed with a staining power once the initial product was wiped off. Here's the order of everything, again all in the same order that I swatched it in, with the first three leaving a stain and the Dayzik leaving no stain at all. Now let's talk about the second sort of curated look that I put together. This one's a little more warm, a little more peachy leaning, but for the most part, again, I think I'm going to end up mixing and matching a lot of these products. This first one is actually one that I was really excited to try. It's a BB cream, unscented, thankfully, from Etude. And it also says it has PDRN in it. I don't know what a PDRN BB cream is supposed to do or how that's supposed to help, but it is supposed to be an all-day lasting BB cream, so maybe the skincare benefits will have time to soak in. I have mine in the shade 02 Ivory. I don't know if Etude was trying to market this product super hard or what, but it came with an absolute ton of amazing freebies. Not only did I get the full size of the BB cream, but I also got a puff and a makeup spatula for the price of just the BB cream, so that was really nice. I'm actually not normally a fan of makeup spatulas since they tend to lift any dry patches on my skin, but I'm willing to give this one a go. If you can get a hold of this set still, it's definitely a lot of bang for your buck. I was picking my shade out online, obviously, and I was a little bit nervous about it, but since this product is so lightly pigmented anyways, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal if you don't get an exact shade match. It is called the All Day Glass Fit BB Cream, so I was expecting a lot of glow with this, and I was not disappointed. I actually tried this out yesterday for the first time just to see how it went, and it definitely was glowy, but not in a weird like reflective disco ball way. It was just really pretty. It looked like I had done my skincare, and I looked naturally glowy. This is the product I had mentioned that I'd used with that Lily by Red blush earlier. It's definitely easy to blend any sort of cream product on this since the coverage is so light. It actually lasted a surprisingly long time on my skin too, although it wasn't really a fair wear test yesterday since I applied it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and took it off at about 6. You can see there that, again, very, very light coverage. You can still definitely see my veins through. It just evens out your complexion a little, which is really nice. Now we have the cheek lineup for this look. This first product is the Wake Make Shaking Blur Cheek, and I don't know what I was expecting with this product, but it definitely was not what I got. I have this in the shade 06 Fig Tea, and I was interested in this because I have a Daniel Sandler watercolor blush that's also very liquidy and you have to shake it, and so I thought I might as well try this one too because I enjoy that a lot. However, you really have to shake with this one, like you really have to shake. And then it has this weird little pointy, soft sponge. It's really hard to explain unless you've actually felt it. However, as you can see, upon the first shake, the pigment doesn't mix up with the liquid all the way. So you have to keep shaking and keep shaking and keep shaking, and then even when you apply it again, you can still see that the pigment has separated from the liquid. It also doesn't really dry down when you blend it, so I just can't see this product really working on top of any sort of foundation or even the BB cream that I mentioned earlier. I'm really nervous to try this on my face, and I'll definitely try it on a day where I'm staying at home and not seeing anybody. That color is really, really gorgeous, but this might be the kind of product where you have to apply it to the back of your hand and then use a sponge to apply it to your face. It just seems like a lot of steps to use a blush when I could just use any other powder or cream blush in my collection. And again, as far as I can tell, it didn't really dry down. Now we have this cheek palette from 3CE. I usually kind of ban myself from buying cheek palettes since I don't get use out of every single blush in the palette and it feels kind of wasteful. But this is a Layer It All palette, similar to the eye palette that I showed you guys earlier, and I have mine in the shade 02 Cloud Pink. Looking at it online, and especially now that I'm seeing it in person, I did actually think I was going to get use out of all 3 shades, so I'm glad that I bought it. That yellow made me a little bit nervous, but it's actually a really stunning highlight, so I think this will be a really easy palette for a grab and go but super dimensional blush look. Again, that magnetic closure makes me really nervous because I don't want to travel with it and have it get knocked off and explode in my bag, but you know, that's a problem for another day. As you can see, that highlight is super sheer. It just adds a tiny bit of sheen, and then that light pink is a really gorgeous flush, with that dark pink being what I would consider a blush contour shade. I'm really excited to try that because I see a lot of K-pop idols have been doing it lately. Here's a second layer of that lighter pink so you can see it a little bit better, and then of course another layer of that highlight so that you can see it a little bit better. It's very clear, as in it doesn't really have a ton of base color, so I think it's going to be a really gorgeous way to add glow. And I'm sorry for my voice cutting in and out like this. Again, I had a medical event last week involving my voice, and it's just not been the same since. Now we have the Clio Essential Blush Tap. This is not the Clio Lip and Cheek Tap, which is a different product. This one is in the shade Fluffy Peach, and I would be hesitant to call this one a blush at all. This little kit came with this awesome little mini brush. It's super fluffy, so I think it's a really great way to apply this particular product, and it is a little flat too, so that you're not just getting blush everywhere. However, like I said, I would be hesitant to call this one a blush at all. There's not a ton of pigment to it and a ton of sheen. You can see on first application there, it doesn't look like I really have any blush on at all. Unless you're super fair, I don't think this is really going to come off as a blush. It looks much more like a peachy highlighter shade. I'm totally okay with that, but it wasn't really what I was expecting out of this product. The shine is actually so intense that it sort of outweighs the base pigment, so if you want to use this as a blush, I would say use it as a blush topper. Apply it to the highest points of your face and don't use it all over your cheeks. Now we have this product from Dinto. This is their Alice collection, and it's called the Blurring Time to Kiss and Blush. It's supposed to be a lip and cheek palette, but like I always say, it's always either a lip or a cheek palette. Very rarely are they actually true lip and cheek products simultaneously. I have the shade 601 Warm Spring, which doesn't necessarily match with my skin tone the best, but it was colors that I thought were really pretty and that I was actually interested in for the season. I think everybody, including me, bought this product because of the packaging, and I was sort of expecting that flower nose quality. Unfortunately, it's just really not there. This packaging is pretty flimsy, it definitely feels like plastic, it's definitely as light as plastic, so it's not the best. If you're buying it for the packaging, I recommend not doing that. The pans are also super tiny, like I mean minuscule. I think even if I had shorter nails, I would have to use the tip of my pinky to be able to get into this. So that Amuse lip brush is getting some time to work. I just don't see this being a very convenient way to reapply this product on the go, so maybe it's gonna stay as a cheek product in my drawer. That's kind of a bummer because the whole point is it's supposed to be like a keychain that you can take on the go and reapply, but it just seems like it's gonna be too inconvenient for that. That being said though, that super soft sheer matte is really gorgeous. I love the formula and the colors, I just wish the packaging was better. Now let's talk eyeshadow. For this little look, I just got a quad. This is from Vanilla Co. and it's in the shade 05 Mute Mind. I really wanted a basic brown palette, and I feel like I bought a ton of them in the last couple of months trying to find my perfect little quad, and this one is really gorgeous. The two little freebie brushes that it came with are really nice. They're both a tiny bit flat, well, one is very flat. You can see there that little dense flat brush is great for packing on the glitter, and then that little fluffier brush with a tiny bit of an angle is great for blending on the other shades. I actually used this yesterday, and I can confirm that it makes a really gorgeous basic eye look for every day. I really loved the look that I got out of this, and I didn't have to think about it at all. Each shade was super intuitive to use, and the finishes were really nice. Is it anything groundbreaking? No, definitely not, but I think it's gonna get a lot of use from me over the fall season, especially on busier days. Last but not least, let's talk about some lip products. If you've been around on my channel for a little while, then you know that the Entropy Charm Tint Glossy Gel is one of my favorite formulas. They came out with some new shades recently, including this one, Spinel Charms, so I, of course, was super eager to try it. I know that brown looks really intimidating, and honestly, it was really intimidating to me too the first time that I swatched it, but I wore it yesterday and it was super gorgeous. That little clip-on keychain thing is pretty nice for the outside of your bag, but if your bag gets banged around a lot, it is actually possible for it to come unscrewed and for the product to fall. Don't ask me how I know, it was a really traumatic experience, and I dropped my tint on the subway, and that was super sad. But like I said, that brown shade is actually really gorgeous. I don't apply a lot, I just apply a little bit, and with my natural pink undertones in my lips, it comes out to be a super flattering shade. If you have more purple or darker undertones to your lips, you might not like this color as much. But I do like that it's sort of sheer so that your natural undertone does come through. If you have darker or more pigmented lips than me, let me know if you have this product and you really enjoy it. I'm interested to know. They recently also came out with a blurry version of their tint, and I have mine in the shade Quartz Gem. I have to give them props with their packaging. Even their outer box is really cool. It's just giving cool girl Korean influencer, if you know what I mean. And this matte version has not only a matte glass packaging, but also the clip itself is also matte. Unfortunately, that clip is a little unwieldy when you're trying to apply the product. You have to actually unscrew from the bottom, or at least that's what I do. I find it the most convenient to do it that way. This salmon-y color looks really scary at first, but if you saw my OED review from a couple weeks ago, then you know that that salmon color is actually one of my favorites for sort of neutralizing my natural lip color. That is kind of the point of this product. It is called the blurry base, so I do think it's going to be the perfect base shade for my lips. And since it's super pigmented, you know that my natural lip color is gonna be gone. It is one of those formulas like the Colorgram from earlier that starts out kind of wet and then dries down matte. Now I have one lip color and one freebie from Alternative Stereo. The color I bought is number 15, Fig Ball, but it comes with that black gloss as a freebie. Alternative Stereo is a lip tint brand that I know I really like already. I have a couple of their tints, and I thought I would try this shade since it's also new for the fall. The Alternative Stereo tints come in this little square bottle that's super cute, really easy to just throw in your bag, and it doesn't get lost easily since that packaging doesn't really fall to the bottom of your bag. I don't know how to explain it, but that square packaging really hangs around, so it's super convenient. This is another nudie peach shade. I've been a big fan of them recently. I feel like it just doesn't make too much of a statement on my lips unless I really want it to. And the Alternative Stereo Sugar Glaze lip line is really sheer, which you know that I love. It's also very buildable. It's not the kind of tint that dries and makes a film so that you can't reapply on top. So I think this is just a really great formula overall, and I'll continue to buy from this brand. Now for this black gloss. I've seen these sorts of unusually colored glosses floating around in K-Beauty, but I have yet to try one, and I think this mini was a great little introduction. It seems like it's just going to lend sort of a cool tone shift to your lip color, but I honestly don't know because I haven't tried it yet. Thankfully, it doesn't come out super black, since as cool as the goth look is, it's just not really my thing. Here's all the swatches lined up in a row from top to bottom so that you can see what they all actually look like compared to the packaging. A lot of glossy lip looks here, with the exception of that soft matte from Entropy, which didn't even really dry down super matte. And again, here's everything with the top layer removed and just the stain remaining. It's actually less of a stain than I thought it was going to be. Most of these didn't really leave much of a stain at all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing what products I'm going to be testing out and using this fall. Some from newer brands, some from older brands, some new colors, some old colors, just a little bit of everything. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!